on top of what they used it for, the unit for before we bought it. I don't know what they put it through. So the tracks always kind of seemed stretched to me, I want to say, which is why I had been looking at the tracks when we originally bought this, because the tracks in themselves are getting up there. There is still plenty of grip on them, but the tracks themselves are getting stretched, and it's definitely noticeable because I can't seem to tighten them enough. If you don't keep your tracks tight enough, they will start throwing. A big issue that I've had to struggle with is keeping the mud out of them, because if you have excessive mud buildup inside the tracks as well, that can cause you to throw them. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to get this back on. And like I said, it's relatively simple. First step is getting the front end off the ground, which I already did. I lifted it up with the mower. And the second step is going to be getting a jack and placing it under the back end. That'll lift this side of the JCB up. So then the track is up off the ground, and then I'll follow up with the next step. So let's get the jack under there. All right. So I should have brought a wood block along. That would have made my life a lot easier. You need to choose a solid area where it's not going to slip. So let's listen to that rattle. Got the jack under there now. Front end's elevated. We're going to jack up the back end now. We don't got to take both of these bolts out, just one, because the plate will swivel downward. Put that back in there for safekeeping for now. Behind all this crud inside is a grease zerk. So we got a grease zerk in the center there. One mistake that you don't want to make when doing this is thinking that just removing that grease zerk will let the grease flow backward. There's actually a larger nut around the grease zerk that you have to remove, and that'll allow the grease, which you use to use with the tensioner, which is like the whole system on the front. That wheel up there will actually recede when I take that fitting out. It's actually really important that you don't loosen the wrong thing, like I said, because you'll remove just that grease zerk and think, why isn't it coming out like we had? And you actually have to remove the whole thing. So just a little reminder for anybody out there doing this themselves. All right, so I just loosened it. A bunch of grease shot out. Go ahead and yummy. So in the meantime, that tensioner is coming back, which is going to allow us to get the track back on. It's a lot of grease. Don't be like me, kids, and forget your rags. It's pretty important. I'm going to get the crowbar and apply pressure to that front end to try to get it to come back more. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there. So to push that tensioner back, all I have to really do is just stand on the track, and I've got quite a bit of play there. So getting there, not quite close enough. Well, I've got the track loose. It's time to do some fancy work with the crowbar to get the front end of the track back where it should be. So, unfortunately my camera died, but I had to run back to the house after I got the tracks back on. It took about 45 minutes for me to do it myself, but it is doable. I haven't done this enough to where I'm quick at it, I guess. I'm still experimenting with what you got to do first to get to go on. So I got the front to go on first, and as you can see, I got it retracted all the way, and a lot of grease came out. I thought I got most of it at first by jumping on the track, but there's a lot more that came out just from me working on it. So I was using the jack. It's kind of at a cockeyed angle now, but I was using that to lift up the back end. Actually still is holding it. But I got the back on. What I did was I got the main drive on first, and then I got the front on, and then I jacked up the rear with the jack and just kind of sat on the ground and kicked it in with my feet. So wasn't too hard to do. It's a lot faster if you got someone else here to help you, but I did pretty good, I think. The sun's not completely down yet, so I'm gonna put that grease fitting back on and then fill it full of grease. I'm gonna expand it back out. I forgot my tape measure. I'll do that later. But there's supposed to be roughly an inch of play in that bottom roller to the track. So when you have the front end up off the ground, this roller should have about ½ an inch of play. But since I don't have my tape measure, I'm gonna do it just by my own sight. Then once I get back to the buildings, I can do it properly and get it back. This is just to get me back to the buildings. By the time I get this all greased back up and come back out for the four-wheeler, I'm gonna be walking in the dark. So now I don't want to get any junk inside that tensioner, so I ran some grease through it. I'm gonna clean that off a little better, but there's a bunch of dirt and stuff collected on it, so that's just to get that nice and clean so that I don't pump dirt in there, because I could give myself issues in the future, especially since I know that I've pumped out as much grease as I have. The new stuff that I put in at first, I definitely want to be clean. All right, let's hope I got enough grease in this grease gun. I just put a new tube in, but I saw a lot of grease come out, so let's see what happens. I doubt we're totally kosher, but I got the bottom to at least lift up off the ground. I got to take that jack out of the back and probably lift up the front and just kind of sight it and see how we look. Maybe run it back and forth a couple times to get the track just kind of fit snugly. Leave the four-wheeler here, I'll come back for this. All right, let's test this out. Well, I made it back to the buildings. Now I gotta walk all the way to that hillside right on the horizon there. I was gonna do some spraying tonight before I threw the track, but looking at what we got going on down here, that there is a telltale sign that it's a Monday. I don't need to look at the calendar or match up the days. I just look at what's broke. Because it seems like Mondays are always those kind of days. Threw the track on the JCB and got a flat tire on the Gator. And I'm not totally sure how I did that, because I did a lap around the 11-acre field with the sprayer. I'm probably gonna make a video on that, so keep an eye out for that one. But I don't know how I did it. I went around the 11-acre field. I stayed back from the field edges, but that field is pretty heavy in locust trees. So I must have ran over a fallen branch or something like that. It's just the front left one, so that's tomorrow morning's project. I can worry about that then. So by the time this video posts, she's gonna know what it is, but right now she doesn't yet. I'm thinking about taking Hannah's graduation gift and taking that wheel off tomorrow morning with it. So for her graduation, I got her a 1/2-inch impact because she's going into mechanics. So something like that would be really handy for her. But it actually came in a set with the grease gun. I saw that I was looking for an impact for her. I saw that they had a grease gun there, and I'm like, that'd be really handy to have one of those out of my place so that I can tighten the tracks on the JCB, because you're supposed to tighten them every 10 to 15 hours. And I've been checking them every single day before I go out. but I get kind of mixed results. I've been trying to go a little bit on the tighter side, but whenever you are mowing stuff like this, this is actually typically what I would assume throws these tracks, is when I hit stumps of trees that I've cut off, and that usually is what kicks them off. So I'm trying to be real careful and mow them off ground level, but there's always that one that I run over and I didn't cut it off just at the right angle because the way the hill lays or whatever, and then I run over it and try to turn and it pops it off. Seems to do it pretty frequently if they're not super tight. So mowing brush like this is pretty hard on the tracks, just because there's a lot of weight on the front of the JCB, and with all the brush and trees that I'm running over, it's kind of harsh on it, but it gets the job done, and it gets the job done well. I really love the Teleskid. I have mixed feelings about the CID mower. It does a heck of a job, but on the other hand, we had to do how much work to it just to get it functional, and the major problem was right from the factory. They didn't take that shaft cover off of the hydraulic motor. So we've actually got bobcats on the farm, but I've heard reports of black bears coming back into the area too. Walking through the valley down here at night kind of creeps me out. This isn't something I ever do. Hey ghosts, it's me, your boy. Don't mind me. This isn't even the creepy part of the pasture. The Klein pasture is the bad one. Got frogs. At least that's what I'm telling myself. It's a beautiful night. Holy cow. Yeah, we're gonna go this way. Don't mind me, I'm not dinner. It was a 10-minute walk. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. It is 9:15 and the sun is back there. It's still dusk, but the sun's pretty much gone. But that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. All how farms work. Hopefully this video helped someone who's, in my own particular situation. I am a member of a Teleskid group, and someone asked how they get the tensioner to release. And someone told them to take off the grease zerk. And it's actually that whole fitting around the grease zerk. We made the same mistake, and I'm sure many other people will as well. So, 'tis life. Anyway, I'll see you next time.